Coming up, author Alan Golden.
Yeah, and how his book is helping patients and caregivers understand Alzheimer's. Stay with us.
I'll do it right now. Oh, worldwide, about 27 million people have Alzheimer's.
It affects those diagnosed as it does loved ones and caregivers. And this morning, we're getting a look at a guide on the disease called The Dynamite Story of Alzheimer's Recovery.
Yeah, welcome in the author from Council Bluffs, Alan Golden, alongside Lisa Tomey. Thanks for coming in. We
nice
appreciate
to have you here.
Thank you. So, Alan, this book has really been a journey for you, hasn't it?
Yes, it is.
How long has it been in the works, and how did you get the idea?
I'll give you the front end of the journey. In that when I was 20 years old, me and my wife and 2 children lived in a small house in the western end of Council Bluffs, and the owner found termites in it, and so he had workers that came in there, and what they should have done was use part of a small glass of the fluid, and they used 5 gallons. And so I was very affected. It basically damaged my immune system. The rest of the family had some problems with it. So all my life I've spent all the money I could get. I've been all over U.S., Mexico, Canada, trying to whatever help I could find to keep me going. So I'm still here. So that speaks for that.
Well, and Alzheimer's specifically, and I know, Lisa, you have a very personal connection to it, which we'll get to, but why did you write this specific guide?
Oh, because as I was looking for everything, I got in with a group of doctors that sent out monthly newsletters. And I would get the monthly newsletter to see what, maybe if something could help me. Well, a year ago, October, the flood came on Alzheimer's as it's coming. Because I was an insurance agent, and I was in my office, and I just sat there and prayed. I could not believe what I was looking at. It was so phenomenal and so unusual to be able to get that kind of information that I knew where I had to go. And the odd thing is, I've heard people say, well, God done this and God done that. I can tell you it happens.
Yeah, talk about the information you got, because you describe it as a medical fairy tale.
Yes. Medical fairy tale being that the researchers worked for 5 years. There's 27 teams. Over this 5-year period, they developed they patented all the things that they did in the research. And they came out with originally a prescription. And when they did that, it was going to be $400 a month. And I talked to the lady doctor that had a husband that had Alzheimer's at 3 years. And I said, well, tell me your story. And she said, well, I got into it, found out that's what the prescription is going to cost. So I went back and tried to figure out how I could change that to something that would be more price conscious for the person. And she changed it to what you could buy in that at the health food store and do the same thing.
And that's what you look at, right? Sort of
You bet.
nutrition.
Yes.
I know coconut oil is something that you write a lot about. You have a couple of recipes inside the guide, in addition to a lot of other information that speaks back to these studies and these 30 international patents. I would love to talk about your personal connection, if you don't mind, Lisa, to Alzheimer's and why this guide might be important to you.
Well, my father had Alzheimer's disease. He actually ended up dying of cancer, but the ironic thing about Alzheimer's disease is that it helped him forget that he had cancer. But it's just my little attempt to humor that to get through it. But when I met Alan and he was sharing with me about his findings, I got just a fire in me. I had to be involved with this because one, I had lost my dad to Alzheimer's. The other is the family risk of getting Alzheimer's disease, so it made it really personal. And I started thinking, well, what can I do to help Alan get this word out to people? So I worked with him with the book, with the writing background in that, and really was motivated by the fact that not only are we talking about helping people who have Alzheimer's disease have that ray of hope that they didn't have before, but also we can look at ourselves as people that may inherit that trait and do things that we can do to prevent getting Alzheimer's ourselves. So as actually what we talk about in the book for the formula to help this can also be used by anybody, any person. That's
it's a specific treatment, and there's more than 30 international patents for this treatment. Can you talk about that?
Yes, actually the patents have increased as Alan was starting to work on the book, it was a certain number, and then it's gone up to over 100, and it just keeps growing as they're finding more and more success. They have the actual drug out there. They started out on trials, and then they started actually prescribing it. But the components that are necessary to help Alzheimer's patients are not completely in just taking that one medication. There's a lot more to it than that. And that's what we outline in the book, is that you really have to have all the pieces of the puzzle to make it really come together.
And one term that I've seen you use online and in the book is diabetes of the brain, which is not something I'd ever heard about before preparing here.
I had so much trouble with that when I was first looking at the research, and I thought, I must have worked on an hour and a half to try to get it straight in my head.
Right.
Because basically they're saying whether you have Parkinson's, Alzheimer's disease, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, or certain kinds of diabetes, what that does was, like, diabetes doesn't let the glucose in. Okay, your neurons are damaged in your head, and when you start feeding them the coconut oil and MCT oil, why then, voila, guess what happens? They start waking up the brain.
Right, and the neurons are kind of the common denominator with a lot of this. And one of the things, and even on the first page of your book, you say consult your doctor. This is not meant to be
you always got to consult your doctor.
The end-all guide to any kind of
dive
treatment.
right into this till you talk to your doctor. So your book is available at a number of locations. Can you tell people out there watching where they can get
they're on Amazon.com. They're also on Green Acres Health Food Store in Council Bluffs, 808 South Main. Plus, they have the products there that you use. And
the products you're writing about in your book. And then here's how you can save $1 on the dynamite story of Alzheimer's recoveries. Just mention the morning blend. And automatically $1 off the price of the book. And then if you would like to contact Alan about his book, if you're curious about some of the research and the patents that he used in writing this book, and I know you reissued it back in April of this year, right? But you've been working on it for quite a while in advance of that. You see his email address there, a physical address as well, and then his website is a1alzheimersalternatives.com.
Well, thanks for coming in. This is really something that affects a lot of families out there, so it's good that you're writing about it.
There's nobody that's not affected by Alzheimer's.
It's true.
yeah, everybody is.
Well, the Morning Blend, we air live from 9.